April 18, 1988, Persian Gulf, 0600 hours. 3 U.S. Navy surface action groups are moving into position. Cruisers, destroyers, frigates. Aircraft from USS Enterprise steam toward Iranian waters. This is not a training exercise. This is the largest U.S. naval surface engagement since World War II. 4 days earlier, USS Samuel B struck an Iranian mine while escorting reflagged Kuwaiti tankers through the Strait of Hormuz. The explosion tore a 15-foot hole in the frigate's hull. 10 sailors were injured. The ship nearly sank. Only exceptional damage control saved the vessel. Intelligence confirms the mines were laid by Iran Revolutionary Guard Corps using the Ajr, an Iranian amphibious landing ship converted for mine-laying operations. The Ajr was captured weeks earlier with over 100 mines aboard. The evidence is conclusive. Iran is mining international waters in violation of maritime law. The Pentagon's response is calibrated, not a full-scale war, not regime change, a limited strike designed to send one message. Mining U.S. Navy vessels will cost you your offshore oil infrastructure and a significant portion of your naval capability. Operation Praying Mantis begins at dawn. Surface Action Group. Charlie approaches the Sasan oil platform 120 miles off the Iranian coast. The platform is not a civilian facility. Intelligence confirms it houses radar installations, communications equipment, and Iranian Revolutionary Guard personnel. It serves as a forward command post for coordinating attacks on commercial shipping. USS Merrill, a Kidd-class destroyer, broadcasts a warning on all maritime frequencies. Abandon the platform. You have 20 minutes. Personnel are observed evacuating via small boats. The deadline passes. At 0800 hours, USS Merrill opens fire. 5-inch guns engage. The shells impact the platform's superstructure with precision. Secondary explosions indicate weapons or fuel storage. The platform begins listing. Iranian Revolutionary Guard forces on nearby boats observe but do not engage. They're outgunned and they know it. Simultaneously, Surface Action Group Delta engages the Sari oil platform 135 miles to the southeast. Same procedure. Warning issued, evacuation observed. Then USS Wainwright, a Belknap-class cruiser, commences bombardment. 5-inch shells tear through the platform's infrastructure. Within 90 minutes, both oil platforms are destroyed. But Iran decides to escalate. At 0900 hours, Iranian fast attack craft and frigates sortie from Bandar Abbas Naval Base. 3 vessels head toward the U.S. surface groups: the frigate Sahand, the frigate Sabalan, multiple Bagamar speedboats armed with machine guns and rocket-propelled grenades. The Iranian frigate Joshan, a French-built Combattante II-class fast attack craft, closes on Surface Action Group Charlie. Range, 15 miles. The Joshan launches a U.S.-made Harpoon anti-ship missile toward the American ships. This is a Harpoon missile being fired at U.S. Navy vessels. The irony is not lost on anyone. Iran purchased these weapons from the United States before the 1979 revolution. Now they're using them against American destroyers. The missile is detected immediately. USS Simpson and USS Wainwright track the incoming threat. Electronic warfare systems activate. Chaff clouds deploy. The Harpoon loses lock and misses, detonating harmlessly in the ocean. The response is overwhelming. USS Wainwright and USS Simpson launch 4 Harpoon missiles in return. The Iranian Joshan has no effective countermeasures against modern anti-ship missiles. 3 Harpoons impact within 20 seconds. The frigate explodes and sinks. Survivors are observed in the water, but Iranian rescue boats retrieve them before U.S. forces arrive. Meanwhile, A-6C intruder attack aircraft from USS Enterprise locate the Iranian frigate Sahand, transiting in open water. The frigate is hunting American ships. The intruders carry Harpoon missiles and laser-guided bombs. The first Harpoon strikes the Sahand amidships. The warhead detonates inside the hull. Fire erupts from the superstructure. The ship slows but remains afloat. Additional intruders arrive. They deliver laser-guided bombs with precision. One bomb penetrates the deck and detonates in the engine room. Another hits the bridge. The Sahand loses power and begins listing heavily. A-6 intruders make multiple attack runs. Harpoon missiles, Cluster bombs. The frigate is overwhelmed. Within 30 minutes, the Sahand is a burning wreck. It capsizes and sinks by 1600 hours. Iranian helicopters attempt rescue operations, but are driven off by U.S. combat air patrol. The Iranian frigate Sabalan attempts to engage U.S. aircraft with surface-to-air missiles. A-6 intruders respond with AGM-123 Skipper laser-guided bombs. One bomb penetrates the Sabalan superstructure and detonates inside. The explosion destroys the ship's fire control systems and causes massive internal damage. The Sabalan does not sink but is disabled and towed back to port. It remains out of service for years. Iranian Bagamar speedboats attempt hit-and-run attacks throughout the day. These are small, fast boats armed with heavy machine guns and RPGs. Tactics involve high-speed approaches, firing at close range, then retreating. But they're facing Aegis-equipped cruisers and destroyers with advanced radar and weapon systems. U.S. ships engage with 5-inch guns and 20mm phalanx close-in weapon systems. The Bagamars are fast but fragile. Direct hits destroy them instantly. Some are sunk by naval gunfire. Others are disabled and abandoned by their crews. By 1800 hours, the engagement is over. Iranian losses: 2 frigates sunk, 1 frigate heavily damaged, 1 corvette sunk, 2 oil platforms destroyed, 6 speedboats sunk. U.S. losses: 1 AH-1 Cobra helicopter crashes due to mechanical failure, killing both crew members, no ships damaged, no surface casualties. The operational execution is near flawless. Coordination between surface groups, carrier aviation, and command elements is seamless. Rules of engagement are followed precisely. Targets are confirmed before engagement. Warnings are issued where appropriate. Escalation is controlled. The objective is achieved: punish Iran for mining operations without triggering full-scale war. But the strategic implications extend far beyond one day of combat. Operation Praying Mantis demonstrates overwhelming U.S. naval superiority in a regional conflict. Iranian naval forces are shown to be incapable of defending their own territorial waters against a coordinated American surface and air assault. The psychological impact on Iran's navy is significant. They avoid direct confrontation with U.S. forces for years afterward. The operation also validates several key systems. Harpoon anti-ship missiles perform exactly as designed. Aegis combat systems track and engage multiple targets simultaneously. Naval aviation provides a decisive strike capability beyond the range of surface weapons. The integration of sensors, communications, and weapons across multiple ships proves effective under combat conditions. Internationally, the engagement sends a message to other nations. The U.S. Navy will respond to attacks on its vessels with precise, overwhelming force. Mining international waters will not be tolerated. Freedom of navigation will be enforced with military action if necessary. But Operation Praying Mantis also exposes vulnerabilities. The loss of the AH-1 Cobra, though due to mechanical failure rather than enemy action, highlights the risks of extended rotary wing operations in hostile environments. The Iranian Harpoon launch demonstrates that U.S. weapons sold to allies can be turned against American forces decades later. This influences future arms export policies. The operation's legal framework is carefully constructed. The United States invokes the right of self-defense under international law. The mining of USS Samuel B constitutes an armed attack. The response is proportional and limited to military targets. Civilian casualties are avoided. The oil platforms are legitimate military objectives due to their use as command posts. Iran protests the action at the United Nations but receives little international support. Most nations recognize the right to defend against mine warfare in international waters. The Soviet Union, typically supportive of Iran during this period, remains neutral. Arab states quietly approve of the American action, viewing it as a check on Iranian regional ambitions. For the U.S. Navy, Operation Praying Mantis becomes a case study in limited war at sea. How to execute a punitive strike that achieves political objectives without escalating to full-scale conflict. How to coordinate multiple surface action groups with carrier aviation. How to apply overwhelming force while maintaining precise control. The lessons influenced naval doctrine for decades. Every surface warfare officer studies the operation. The integration of Aegis systems with carrier air wings, the use of Harpoon missiles against surface targets, the importance of maintaining rules of engagement discipline even under fire. USS Samuel B. Roberts, the frigate that struck the mine and triggered the entire operation, survives. Damage control saves the ship from sinking. It's towed to Dubai for temporary repairs, then transported back to the United States. After extensive reconstruction, the Roberts returns to service and continues operating until decommissioning in 2015. The crew of the Samuel B. Roberts never forgets April 14, 1988, the day their ship hit a mine, the day 10 sailors were injured fighting flooding in the engineering spaces, the day the Navy proved that attacking American vessels carries a steep price. And 4 days later, when Operation Praying Mantis destroyed a significant portion of Iran's Navy and offshore infrastructure, the message was clear. The United States Navy does not ignore attacks on its ships. Response will be swift, coordinated, and overwhelming. 35 years later, Operation Praying Mantis remains the largest U.S. naval surface engagement since World War II. No operation since has involved multiple surface action groups, carrier aviation, and sustained combat over several hours against a nation-state navy. The question that naval strategists still examine: could a regional power today mount a more effective defense against a similar American operation? Or has the technology gap only widened since 1988? The Iranian Navy never challenged U.S. forces directly again. They shifted to asymmetric tactics, fast boats, mines, proxy forces. They learned the lesson of Praying Mantis: don't fight the U.S. Navy on its terms. But somewhere in the Persian Gulf right now, American destroyers and cruisers patrol the same waters, escorting tankers, monitoring threats, ready to respond if another mine detonates beneath a U.S. Navy hull. Because the precedent was set on April 18, 1988, attack one American ship and the entire fleet responds.